Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something deeply personal, a neurological autopsy on one of the most universal human experiences. We're going to unpack the science behind heartbreak and nostalgia. But before we get into the biology, I want you to listen closely.
Your memories are lying to you. That person you still think about sometimes, the one that felt like nothing before or since, the one your mind returns to at 2 a.m. when a song comes on that you have not heard in years, they never actually existed. Not the way you remember them.
Your brain has spent years quietly editing the footage, removing the painful parts, softening the difficult moments. And tonight, when that reel plays and that song hits and you feel that specific ache that no present relationship seems able to reach, you are not missing a person. You are being haunted by a psychological fiction your own mind built and has been maintaining ever since.
Section 1. The memory storage problem.
So, how does this actually happen? To really understand why we feel so completely haunted by these ghosts, we have to pull back the emotional curtain and look at the clinical biology happening right inside our own heads. The very first thing neuroscience tells us about first love revolves around a part of your brain called the hippocampus. That's your memory storage system. But here's the critical flaw that we all just kind of assume isn't there. Your hippocampus? It is not a video camera. It absolutely does not record objective factual footage. Instead, it prioritizes emotional intensity over factual accuracy. Basically, the stronger the emotion attached to a memory, the more resources your brain throws at storing it. But stronger storage doesn't mean accurate storage. It just means it's incredibly vivid. So that most cherished memory you have, yeah, it's been quietly altered without your knowledge.
Let's actually trace how this editing process works over the years. It's like a 3-step routine. Step 1, your brain grabs onto and keeps those moments of absolute, sheer intensity. Step 2, it quietly just tosses out the moments of ordinariness, the daily frustrations, and the underlying incompatibilities that, let's be honest, actually made up the vast majority of the experience. And step 3, it takes whatever imperfections are left and literally photoshops them. Every single time you recall that memory, your brain slightly edits it all over again. It warms up the colors, it smooths over the rough edges, until what you're left holding onto is an entirely fabricated emotional skeleton.
Section 2. The neurological benchmark.
Okay, now that we know our memories are basically curated fictions, we need to understand why that original feeling was so intensely overpowering to begin with. Why does it stick with us? Well, look at what happens when you compare the adolescent dopamine response to an adult baseline. First love almost always hits us during adolescence, right? And during this highly specific window of time, your brain produces dopamine responses to romantic experiences that are massively more intense than anything an adult brain can generate. Like, this isn't poetry here, it's measurable biology. The very first time you experience romantic love, your brain responds with this massive chemical explosion, and that explosion sets a permanent biological benchmark. It is a period of absolute neurological overdrive that your brain will literally never ever return to.
Because of that biological benchmark, you're not actually comparing your present relationship to a person from your past. You are comparing a present reality to a past chemical experience, a chemical experience that your adult brain is physically, biologically incapable of reproducing. I really want that to sink in for a second. This revelation completely explains what you've likely felt for years. The comparison you're making in your head, it isn't just unfair to your current partner. It is neurologically rigged from the very start.
Section 3. The limbic system trap.
So, if the memory is a total fiction, and the original high is biologically impossible to reproduce, why does it still hit us like a freight train out of nowhere? Let's break down the exact sequence of a trigger. Say you hear a song that you listen to a lot during that intensely emotional period of your youth. Music activates the limbic system, which is your brain's emotional center. So, at second 1, the stimulus hits. You hear the opening chords. By second 2, your limbic system activates, neurologically linking right back to the emotional state of that past period. By second 3, a literal physiological change happens. Your heart rate actually changes. Your chest physically tightens up. And it's only at second 4 that you consciously register that perceived longing. The physical feeling arrives before the thought even fully forms. Your brain is literally reinstating the physiological state of your past.
And this is exactly why that midnight ache is so incredibly powerful. Think about it. At 2 a.m., your psychological defenses are completely down. You're lying in bed, scrolling through reels, and the algorithm has learned exactly how to serve you content based on your known emotional patterns. Boom. Suddenly, that reinstated physiological feeling we just talked about completely floods your system. And in that moment, it is indistinguishable from genuine longing. But remember what we just uncovered. You are not actually longing for a person. You are longing for a neurological state that your brain produced exactly once and has been desperately trying to recreate ever since. It's uncomfortably accurate, isn't it?
Section 4. The rigged comparison.
Knowing all of this neurological trickery, we have to look at the battlefield where we actually pit our present against our past. Look at the sheer absurd imbalance of this comparison. On one side, you have the ghost. It exists entirely as an edited highlight reel. It's a carefully curated psychological fiction that only represents peak emotions. But on the other side, you have your present reality. It exists in full, unedited resolution. You see a living, breathing person completely, their shifting moods, their daily habits, their real-time annoying imperfections. Measuring one against the other is honestly like comparing a living, breathing, messy city to a glossy, retouched postcard of a city. Of course the postcard looks better. It was explicitly designed to. But here's the thing. You can't actually live in a postcard.
Section 5. Decoding the ghost. This brings us to a really crucial pivot in our explainer today. If we know the memory is edited, and the chemistry is a literal thing of the past, and the comparison is entirely rigged, what do we actually do with this haunting? Well, I want you to completely rethink your longing right now. When your mind returns over and over to a first love, it is not a diagnosis that you made the wrong choice in your life. It is absolutely not telling you that you lost someone irreplaceable. The ghost isn't a message about your past at all. It is a vital, flashing neon signal about your present.
This actually translates into a really actionable roadmap for us. When you feel that deep egg for being completely seen, for vibrant intensity, for that wide-open feeling of possibility and unmatched connection, listen. These are not traits magically locked inside of only one specific person from a decade ago. No, these are simply qualities that your nervous system is signaling it desperately needs right now. If you listen to it correctly, this longing actually points forward. It's telling you exactly what you need to actively build into your real life today.
Now, it is absolutely important to validate your experience here. Your first love was real. That sheer intensity you felt was entirely real. But the person you remember, they are not the person who actually existed. They are simply the person your brain needed them to be after they were gone. Spending your present days longing for a brain-made fiction isn't an act of profound romantic loyalty to something meaningful. It's really just allowing yourself to be tricked by your own mind's most convincing story. The moment you understand that the ghost was never real, the haunting loses its power. And what was keeping you looking backward finally lets you turn around.